Good morning, everybody. Coach Kennedy chiming in this morning here. I wanted to quickly chat today for a few minutes on biomechanics and what happens when we have improper biomechanics due to sedentary positions we sit in all day or anything that actually repeats a movement over and over and over. So bad biomechanics can be created through bad movement, lack of exercise, improper exercise, just anything that we specifically do that basically turns our body into these fixed positions. Now, these are just some things I'm going to throw out there in terms of some of the effects we can have from improper biomechanics. So I made a list this morning that just popped in my head, and I thought, how could these things be affected through biomechanics? And if you really think about them, you'll see how they actually all sort of come into play. So consider poor quality of life. I mean, people who don't move well don't generally get involved in extracurricular activities. They don't want to play sports. They don't want to go hiking. They don't want to do things. They don't want to go out. They don't want to play with the kids. These things are a fact of life. So poor quality of life is definitely something that can be affected when it comes to biomechanics, poor biomechanics. Low back issues, which is a big one. We see this all the time. Bad knees, as we call them. Look, if you haven't had an injury through a direct contact, then a lot of bad knees can be issues that are created through improper biomechanics, be it from the foot or the hips. Improper breathing can be caused through improper biomechanics. Think about the kyphotic positions we put ourselves into, and then think what that can lead to. Digestive issues, again, through that compression, through the abdominal wall. Hormonal stress. Think about how improper biomechanics can cause us to breathe incorrectly, which can cause the release of certain hormones. Again, causing hormonal stresses. Injuries, which is an obvious one. We can definitely lead to more injuries. A decrease in performance. I spoke yesterday about length tension relationships. So if we have an imbalance in muscle lengths, which obviously can lead to injuries, also can decrease your performance due to this. Lack of confidence. I know that when I feel stuck together, when I don't feel as mobile, if I go out and I want to do something that's actually very dynamic in movement, sometimes we get this mental block. We don't have the confidence to take that extra step or create that extra movement. So yeah, it can definitely lead to a lack of confidence in what you do daily or in anything you plan to do, which can limit, again, your quality of life. Quad dominance. We have a term out there that we refer to as I'm a quad dominant person. A quad dominant person is a person who has other biomechanics that are incorrect. Therefore, the quads are the ones that are actually taking over. That doesn't necessarily mean, for the most part, you were born that way. But again, it can lead back to improper biomechanics. Plantar fasciitis, general foot pain, neck issues, nerve impingements, especially up in the shoulder region. But this obviously can happen anywhere. These are all the sort of things that can lead to improper biomechanics. Now, here's what drives me nuts. There are so many simple things that can be done to correct these biomechanics. And it isn't just a question of just move more, because we know that even a lot of movement can create tissue issues per se. So what it simply is about maintaining yourself. It's being consistent with things. Most people don't do anything. I'm not suggesting foam rolling, compression techniques is your only solution. It's not. It's one solution I'm speaking of today. But if people were better hydrated, watched what they eat, moved enough, didn't sit all day, didn't sit in fixed positions all day. Because look, the reality is, like myself, if you're going to work anywhere, you are going to be stuck in these seated positions. The question is, do you sit there for 4 hours at a time? Do you get up every 20 minutes to sort of get the body moving, get fluids moving, sit on the ground, stand back up, get lymphatic and blood and things just kind of going, keep yourself active that way? If you do, then this will decrease these chances of tissue being tight, improper biomechanics, muscle imbalances, injuries, poor quality of life. All these things will come into play with it. Stretching is another great example. So there's many things. I'm speaking specifically things that you can actually do at home, things you can do prior to, during, after exercise, foam roller, compression techniques. Once you learn to actually use these sort of products the correct way, then there's definitely a great way for you to help increase your movement abilities, which again, always back to proper biomechanics. My foot does one action, creates another action through my hips, which creates an action through my knees, which can create an action up through my shoulders, thoracic spine, and all of this is expressed out through the hand as I do any sort of movements. So it's all about how everything connects. So it's not just a question of let me fix my foot and everything else goes away, or I have a bad hip, therefore I will work around it. Triggerpoint Performance Therapy, a company I mentioned yesterday, which started, almost 18 years ago now, somewhere around there. The founder basically founded this company based on one simple principle. He could not find any solutions anywhere, and every wall he hit was because all he was told was, that's just the way it is, you have to live with it. And the reality is, that's how most people live day to day, in pain and discomfort. They just assume that's just how it is. It's never going to change. And what I really admired about this particular gentleman was the fact that Cassidy Phillips is who I'm speaking of. What I really admired was the fact that he actually decided there had to be a better way. And as I said yesterday in the live, it spawned a whole industry. And we have all these professionals out there claiming to understand what actually happens with foam rollers or how they use them. So regardless of what side of the fence you fall on, I will give credit to this. At least people are trying. Sometimes I blame us, the industry itself, for what gets put out there that makes people assume they know how to do things just like that, whether it's stretching, foam rolling, exercising, movement, putting together workouts, program design. Nevertheless, not to go off topic, so improper biomechanics can really do a lot of things to affect your quality of life, your quality of exercise, the injuries and everything else I spoke of. If you want to improve your personal biomechanics, if you want to help your own clients in improving their biomechanics and understanding how this all works together, join me February 25th. We've got a great course running. It's 8 hours long. It's up at RT Health Company, my official studio where I do all our training out of there. I want to give a big handout to Rich and Taylor, who are the owners of the club up there. Beautiful place. If you're ever in Elora, just north of Guelph, have a chance, pop on in and tell them I sent you. Go have a look at it. The date again is February 25th. It is a Sunday. We've got a full class so far. We've got some spots still open. Please, if you have any questions, anything at all, comment, direct message me if you like. Stay in touch, ask anything you like. Have yourself a wonderful day, and remember, how you move is how you move, and it doesn't mean you have to be stuck that way. There's always a better way, and one of the things that's changed my life, honestly, is understanding biomechanics, but mostly understanding that through simple techniques, we can definitely keep the body so well hydrated in terms of movement that we don't have to get stuck in these phases we go through where we believe that's just the way it is. And my last example, I'll use this, and I get this done all the time. I'm older, and that's the way it is. Listen, age does not matter. There are so many people who I've had an opportunity to learn from. One in particular who's popped on here is David Weck. David, how are you, buddy? Here's a guy who, as he knows, as we age, we thought things would get worse, and they're not getting any worse. Speak to him, speak to anybody in our age category. Age is just a number. If you know what you're doing, you can maintain your youth for many, many, many years. Nevertheless, reach out to me. Have yourself a wonderful day. Coach Kennedy out. We'll chat real soon.